Hello Internet, my name is TheRadams97 and this is Medieval 2 Total War, modded to create the Elder Scrolls Total War, which, if you couldn't tell from the pretty obvious name, is an Elder Scrolls mod for Medieval 2. So what this is an online 1v1 between me playing as House Dagoth and someone playing as the clans of the Black Marsh, so the Argonians. It's essentially a thinking of what if the nerevarine had failed in his quest to defeat Dagoth and instead House Dagoth had risen to power and taken over Morrowind. And then they were in power when the Argonians invaded Morrowind after the Red Year. If you don't know about the Elder Scrolls lore, then that's fine. But yeah, I do know a fair bit about it, so I'll throw in the things here and there. But since this is primarily a Total War video, you want Total War. So let's get into army comps. I'm bringing 4 units of Dreamers. These are light infantry. They are equipped with shields and they're fast, but as you're going to see, I have a lot of light infantry in my front line. So they're going to charge in very quickly and try and get off an initial strike. Alongside them on the sides, I have 4 units of corprus stalkers. These are infected infected people who, again, are light and fast, not particularly efficient in prolonged combat, but do have a fairly decent charge bonus. And because of what they are, they also have a morale effect on those they fight, which is always nice. To the very flanks, because this faction has no archers or cavalry, I am using as a proxy cavalry these Ashspawn heavy swordsmen. Again, they have a morale effect on those they fight, and they're basically creatures made of ash given life, and they are armed with nice two-handed swords, so make nice shock units. As you can see, there's my other there. Behind that I have 2 units of, again, light infantry, but somewhat heavier and slower, and these are corprus lanes. These are a bit better at fighting for long periods of time than the Dreamers and Stalkers. They have a bit of a better punch, but like I say, they are slower. Whilst I don't have archers, I do have incredibly expensive mages that this game implements, and here we see them, my Ashspawn mages. They are essentially proxy artillery. They can fire from extremely long range and have a very big area of effect, but not particularly accurate. Then I have my army behind, which is my professionals. These are my very elite units, which are going to march in behind the quick engagement that I'll make off of my light forces. And essentially the strategy is to have these guys just clean up whatever these guys don't kill. So I'm bringing 3 units of Dreamer Spearmen, 3 units of Dreamer Swordsmen, and Dreamer Bodyguards, in which is my General's unit. As for the Argonians, they are bringing to this fight archers to start, because they knew against a faction with no archers and cavalry and a lot of light infantry, archers are going to be pretty effective. So he's bringing 2 units of Argonian ambush masters, which are very good archers, and 2 units of shadow scale archers, again very good archers, which are also particularly efficient at melee. For his main line, he is bringing 4 units of Argonian men-at-arms, which are pretty standard heavy infantry mainline forces. Besides them, he has 4 units of elite clan warriors. These guys are armed with those nice battle axes. As the name would suggest, his much more elite fighting force of the line. He also has, on the right hand flank behind them, 2 units of shadow scales, which are classed as heavy infantry for some reason, but they're essentially act as a kind of shock infantry who are incredibly effective at fighting over long periods of time. Which makes sense for why they were made, why the author, the dev, even made them heavy infantry. Then he has his own mages, but these are much shorter range mages than mine. These guys are essentially a mix between what would be skirmishers, so javelin men and the like, and the artillery, because they still have that area of effect kind of attack, which you'll get to see. They are his priests, which, if you know about the Elder Scrolls lore, you'll know that the Argonians do worship ancient tree creatures known as the Hist, and their mages are their mage priests. Well, yeah, they're his priests. For his general is in his Argonian light cavalry unit. Honestly, I think he would have been better off putting his general in a unit of clan warriors as opposed to his cavalry, because we had done a battle before this, in which I might upload it at some point, I don't know, depends on if I need content, but it's not as I think this is a more interesting battle out of the two that I did with this guy. But yeah, so these, as he found before, being like cavalry, aren't particularly good, but it's not really where the Argonians specialise. So army comps out the way, and the kind of pseudo lore history that we've put to the battle, let's get it underway. A couple of things I want to note whilst my units charge, because the first thing is, like I say, these are all light infantry, which are going to act as a very quick jab at the start of the fight. So I'm going to get these guys all charging in now, and as you can see, those mages are already firing. Now, the things I wanted to mention is, I am well aware of the issue with my microphone. I, however, have no idea what's causing it, and when I first started uploading it was fine. So I'm completely confused and I'm trying to fix this, but to no avail so far. Also, because when I once tried to stream this game, I ended up getting my sound muted because of copyrighted music, because of it being a mod. I've had to turn off the music, so I apologise on that front. But yeah, back to the game. So as you can see, my men have charged up. I accidentally lost track of the micro and they ended up stopping, but I was pretty quick in getting them back moving, because I'd initially told them to charge just up to the front line whilst I decided who they wanted to actually charge into, so... But I was too silent there. But yeah, these guys are going to charge in, and they're going to get some of these clan warriors, which probably not the best thing for these, but they're going to hold them and start to tire them out. As you can see, the stalkers moved in, the dreamers are coming up behind, because the stalkers are much faster than the dreamers. But the dreamers are probably slightly better than the stalkers, because the stalkers don't have any kind of shields or anything, but their dreamers don't have the morale effects that the stalkers have. So yeah, they're going to charge in and they're going to create the initial engagement. I think yeah, at this point I'd noticed that they weren't firing, but my mages weren't firing very well, and my army there had to move through them, so I'm going to move them a bit up this hill, just get them just a bit higher, and hopefully then I'd be able to get them going. So yeah, now my lanes are coming in behind it, and I've noticed that there's a big gap here where my army hasn't engaged with this unit of men at arms here, so these guys are going to charge in, and there it is, this priest, mages, as you can see, being very powerful. Not quite the same area of effect as my guys, but those guys are a lot cheaper than those. So you wouldn't expect the same kind of power. Yeah, he's obviously pulled his archers back and he's going to try and use them to go after my guys. There we go, there's my mages firing. If you saw those large explosions. Yeah. So now everyone's just going to kind of bunch up here and just fight for a long time. Essentially just try and tire these guys out. Thanks to the numbers and the morale effect, they were able to do relatively well, as you'll see. Actually, they did more than relatively well, I should say, but I won't spoil anything else. You can see he intercepted my 2 units of Ash Spawn, one with his clan warriors over here, and the other with a unit of his Shadow Scale swordsmen here. So my Ash Spawn aren't going to be able to do much in this fight other than get those units that they're fighting out of the fight for some time, because they don't really stand much of a chance in this. As you can see, there's a lot of dead Ash Spawn and not so many clan warriors there, and the same goes for this flank. So now the army that's been slowly marching up behind is in position. seen that they're taking a lot of casualties from those archers, I'm immediately going to move my spears out. And they're going to try and go after the units that have taken on my heavy swordsmen, the ash spawn. They're going to go in. But since they're spears, they're not particularly good fighters. At this point, I'd also got my mages to try and focus down his general. See if I could get a lucky hit. But sadly it wasn't the case. So at some point I'm going to try and shift my target to his priest because they are becoming a bit of a pain. As you can see, some of his men-at-arms are actually breaking. A lot of that is probably down to the morale effect that my guys have.
Only half the enemy force remains.
And yeah, when that happened, he knew that things weren't going well for him because I had deployed a lot more people. But it was all very cheap, so he had to be getting kills much faster than I. And as you can see...
Lord have mercy! We've lost half of our men!
Kills a bit faster than him. So the spearmen aren't going to be able to fight particularly well here. But I've now pushed up my swordsman into the line, and the centre of his line is completely gone, broken and routed. Here I have swapped out my spears for swords, and they're going to be able to finish off these shadow scales and be able to move on to other things. As you can see, I'm now also marching up my bodyguard because everything here is important. Yeah,
the battle is very much in our favour. If we remain true and steadfast, victory will be ours.
The clan warriors, and as you can see, even though they were coming in fresh against a depleted unit and tired unit, they still didn't stand a chance. But my swordsmen, however, were much more efficient at doing that job. And now they're going to move in, and at this point it's just cleaning up.
All of Christendom will be awed by the victory we have won here today.
Yeah, there we go. Victory for House Dagoth. So, if House Dagoth was in power at the time of the Argonian invasion of Morrowind, that's what may have happened. Thank you for watching. My name has been TheRadams97.